just watch. Come on.
Welcome back, everyone. Do you have a bunch of stuff sitting around the house that you think could make you some money?
Yeah, well, Chuck Hudson has been doing this for about a decade with his business in Glendale called iSold It. So, Chuck, we all have all kinds of stuff all over the house. Some things you think you want to keep on for a keepsake or something like that, but then at some point, let's try to sell it and make some money.
Most people have a couple $1,000s worth of stuff sitting around their house that they are not using. That could easily be sold on eBay and recover some money for something else.
So how did you get into this business?
It just, we got into it, 10 years ago when eBay was hot, and it just seemed like something that was fun to do. It's interesting. Every day you get something new through the door, and it's always interesting to see what people bring in.
Is eBay still hot?
eBay's still very busy. There's a lot of stuff on there. eBay's tightened up their controls, so it's a lot safer than it used to be. The consumer protections for buyers are, as good as any place else.
So what kind of cut are you taking?
Our regular commission is 33% plus the eBay fees, so you're going to end up with about 50 to 60% of the selling price. Very typical of most consignment models, whether online or offline.
But the nice part about it is I can bring something in, you'll help me value it. What happens next?
Correct. When you bring it in, we'll give you an idea what similar items have sold for. If it has a value over $75, we can handle it. If you want to check it in, we do everything. We take the photos, write the description, put it up on eBay and monitor it. Once it's paid for, we ship it out. About 4 weeks later, a check shows up in your mailbox.
Walk us through some of the big things. What are your big sellers? What's the easiest thing to sell?
We do lots of electronics, musical instruments, gold jewelry, upper-end collectibles. It's just a wide variety of things that have that value.
Is this a lithograph, or what is this considered?
This is a cell, a Disney art cell, limited edition, and it's worth several hundred to over $1,000. So.
Yeah. And many of us do have our electronics hanging out around the house.
We do a lot of laptops, cell phones. If somebody buys a new cell phone, bring the old one in. If you're the type of person that exchanges it on a regular basis, the old one's probably worth a couple $100s or more.
Nice. What is this, and who's looking for something
Those
like
are
this?
Yadro. Yeah, those are both Yadro figurines. They're kind of an upper-end collectible figurine.
Because where do they range when you buy them? They're rather expensive, aren't they?
Depending on the size, they can be anywhere from $75 to over $1,000.
Yeah.
So the smaller ones are really common, but the larger ones, once you get this size and larger, hold their value because there's not as many of them out there.
Is this copper?
That's an antique clock.
It's a clock.
I don't know. I don't think that's copper. I think it's just a painted material to make it look copper.
Oh, the whole thing goes together?
The whole thing is a clock. This is just the part that sits on top. A lot of times that part is missing, so that's a lot of the value because when it got moved around through the years.
And then you've got the jewelry. And
jewelry, we got a Coach dog and a purse there. We do a lot of industrial test equipment, stuff like that.
And is this a retro game, an old game?
That's actually new.
Or new?
Those are, it's a magnetic...
formers.
Kind of like a Lego type thing, but it's made with magnets. And
we want to fit this guitar into. Who's this signed by? I saw that down there.
It's an 80s rock group. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I'm sure it's a good one.
Yeah.
So how can people find you? You've got a website.
We got a website. We're on the southwest corner of 51st Avenue in Bell.
Okay.
And the phone number is right here. And give us a call, and we can give you some guidance as to what's good to bring down.
And you said over 10 years you've sold 60,000 different items on eBay.
We've sold over 60,000 items on eBay.
All right.
We have 100% feedback. So we know what we're doing. We've got the right words to make sure your item is found so you can get top dollar.
Nice.
Yeah, it makes it easy.
Oh, I love it. Yes, it does make it easy, and it's a great way to make some money. Hand it off to you and just wait for that check.
Right.
That sounds great. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here today. We'll be right back after this.
What is this guy, a robot?